Okay, so basically today what I want to do is, we moved from identifying all our components in this series. We moved from identifying all our components within the interface design that was submitted to us to creating all the whole, naming all the components and arranging them within our concept draw, just to show how everything is structured. So what I want to do today is to move from this point, from this mind map, into our React application. So what I want to do is to show you how to move from this point to the React application properly, because that is the natural progression of the work. Yeah. So what I will do now is to come over here. I will create a React application. So I'm going to be creating a React application. I would like to put this within a folder and call that folder US Politics React App. So this is the folder I would want this to be housed. So yeah. So once this is created, what I want to do is to open a command prompt, and then I need to, this is the React page. I just need to get this stuff out, and then the name of the project would be UX Politics App. So that is the name of my app, my React app. So once I hit this, it's going to create the project. It's going to create a React project. I'm not really going to be doing a React. I'm not going to show you how to build a React application. What I'm going to show you is how to take those components and put them into a React app. So while this guy is building and initializing, I need to show you something. Within this component, I can put all these into a module. But that is not the way I like to do things. The way I like to do things is to split all these components into their various modules. That's the way I like arranging my application. So, and I've identified a couple of modules. I've identified 3 modules here. We have the GDP summary. This is kind of like the GDP summary, the gross domestic product summary part of the application. Then this is the admin part of the application. So I will put this in a different module called admin module. So this particular part I would call GDP summary module. Then I have this series. This shows all the whole series. So I might decide to put this series, this into a separate module. But it's a matter of choice. There's no any straight cut way of doing this. But personally, I prefer to do things in such a way that it will be easier for somebody when you are trying to go through the project to see how everything is structured. So let me time myself because I don't want this video to go too long. So this is 12:51. So like to summarize, I've identified 3 modules: the GDP summary modules, the series module, and the admin module. So all the components within the series within the GDP summary module will be within this module. Then all the modules for this guy will be within this guy. All the modules for this one will be within. That's the way I like doing it. It makes things a lot easier, but I might check back to see if that description is accurate, if what we are trying to do is okay. So the project is still building. Yeah, so it has finished building. I want it to return okay, it has returned this. So what I will do is let me go into my application. This command, cd UX Politics app, allows me to go into my application. So once I'm into my application, I can start the application and see. This allows me to start the application. Yeah, the application has started. It's starting the development server. Yeah, this is the application. Everything is working perfectly. But notice that I'm not really. This is the newly built up, newly created application. But notice that I'm not really here to do React tutorial. I'm just trying to show how to structure your component. So I might not really be doing all this. Close this. So this is my React application. This is the public stuff. This is my source folder. So I have some stuff here, but ideally this is where I should be bringing I have some placeholder stuff here. So like I will show. Okay, let me go straight. I will go straight. So what I like to do is I will just create another folder. I would not remove anything here. Let's just leave everything the way it is for now. Yeah. So I will just create another new folder and call this folder component. Yeah, that's the way I like doing it. So within this component, like I said, I've identified 3 modules: the GDP summary module, the series module, and the admin module. So I will create within this. I'm going to create my modules. I will add another folder. Call this folder GDP summary. GDP summary. GDP summary. I'm trying GDP summary module. I don't know, this small letter. I'm thinking of, should I just make this small letters as well? Let's just leave it in caps, or it's just a decision that you might decide to make yourself. This GDP summary module. So what I want to do, I might just rename this. Let's make this capital letter so that we don't have. Yeah, so I think this is the GDP summary. So I will add now another 2 additional folder. This will be my series module, and then this will be my admin module. So I've identified 3 modules here. So all my stuff will be within this module. So what I do now is to all everything here will be within the GDP summary module. Everything here will be within the series module. Everything here will be within that. But you have to be very careful, because you notice that we have okay, well, that's fine. I will know how to do that. I think I'll know how to do that. I will know how to do that. Okay, let's start bringing all our components into. So this is where this becomes handy. See, this is where this becomes handy. This is where this thing we've done now, this study we've done now becomes handy. So what I will do is that let's start with the root component. And our component is just a JS file. So because this root component, this root component, header component, and body component, they will just be within this component. So I will add a file. This will be my JS file. This is my root component. So I will add another file, add new item. I'll add a JavaScript file. And that JavaScript file will represent this header component. You see how I'm doing it? header component. So I got to add, then this body component should be as well here within this. Add new JS file. So I have, as you can see, I have my, as you can see, I have my body component, my header component, and my root component. So like let's see what we have. We don't have anything here. What I usually do is that once I identify all the whole component, I will show you what to do next. I will have to open this in my Visual Studio Code to get all these guys squared and sorted. So I've identified these three components. So within the header component, within the header component, we have some additional component. Within the header component, what do we have? You see, within the header component, we have so many additional components. So what I might want to do is to create another folder specifically for header sub. So that's the way I like doing it. So I will come over here because there are several items within. Okay, let me explain it slowly. You see, this header component is composed of this additional component, and what I prefer to do is to create a subfolder for this header component. So every component that has so many children component should have a subfolder. That's the way I like to do things. So I will come over to this place and create another folder and call this folder header sub. So this header sub will indicate that this header sub with this diff is not a module. Or another thing we can do is to create a module for the header, a module for another module for the body. That is another way to do it. So instead of let's just create header module. This will be the header module. But you know, I don't want to do that because I don't want to confuse. My header is just my header. It is not, it's part of the system, the part of my UI. It is not like a module per se. My module is specifically for a specific functionality of the application. So any folder I named module is specifically for that particular functionality, piece of functionality. So if I create header module, it's a bit confusing because my header, there's no any real piece of functionality for the header. So instead of creating header, I prefer to create header subfolders. You see, header subfolders. This just header sub, or you can put subfolder, but I just want to put header sub because the header sub will contain all the whole children component for this header component. The same way I will have my body sub. My body sub might contain some component as well. So that's the way I prefer to do it. Or you can, another thing you can do is to just put everything within, just put all the whole component here, but I like to arrange things properly. So here I will have this component. So I will have, let's start with this top component. So I will go to this header sub. Like I said, let me re-explain this. My header sub contains all the children component for this header component. From this diagram, you will see that this header component has so many children, but I don't want to scatter all the children within this component folder. So to make things a bit clean and well organized, what I tend to do is to create a subfolder for each component that has several children component, and then put those children component within that subfolder. So this header component has several children component, as you can see from this mind map. So to arrange things properly, I've created a subfolder for this header component. So all these children component, I will put them into the subfolder. You see, that's the way I like to do things. So if I come to this subfolder, I will add my first component, which is this top component. Yeah, this is my top component. Then I will go to this, my middle component. This, and there is no clear cut way. This is the methodology I developed for myself. I'm sharing. So it's just you do it the way you feel is okay. You will always get the same result. The important thing is that you've identified your component. So now this is another thing. This is another thing you will consider. Notice that this top component has a profile component and has two additional children components. Like I said, what I prefer to do is to create a sub component for each of these, anything that has children component, because I don't want to scatter everything. So here I will create a sub component for this top component, create a sub component for this middle component, and create a sub component for this bottom component. Okay, these do not have children, so they won't have any subfolder. But the top component has two children, the profile user profile component and the navbar component. To make things a bit cleaner, you put this into a subfolder for this top component. So if I come here, I will create a, I will add a, oh, I'm meant to create a folder, not a, let's delete this. I'm meant to create a folder, not a component. So I'm adding a new folder and I'm calling this top sub. So top sub, this is just like top subfolder. This is the subfolder for top subfolder. So this is the top subfolder is the top subfolder is the top subfolder. We house all the children component for this top component, all the children component belonging to this top component. That is to say, all this user profile component and navbar component. So let's just put them into their. That's the way to organize things and make things clean and easy to use. So we need to add like I said, I'm not building any application. I'm just showing you how to do this, so you can always go and complete the application. You have time to do that. Yeah, so so that is what you have now. So this top sub is for, it houses all the children component for this top component. Yeah, so we need to create a subfolder for the middle component as well. I need to run this video very fast because I want to go to the gym. So this is the subfolder for this middle component. Why? Because this middle component has two children children component. So right section and the right left section. So we take this guy. That's the way to, you see, this is the way I'm arranging all the whole stuff, you know. So I think I'm done with this header component. I'm done with this header subfolder. So this header subfolder, so I'm going to be, yeah, okay. So okay, yeah, I think that we are on track. We are on track. We are on track. So yeah, so I think I'm done with this header part. Then we go to the body. We go to the body. The body need to have its subfolders, because the body, as you can see, this is the body. This is the body component, and the body component has so many, has all these components. The body component has all these main section, and then right section, and then footer. So what I will do now is just to create a subfolder for the head, for the body component. Body sub. So this is just the body sub and the head and the body. Another thing you can do is to create another, just create another folder. Another thing is to create a called shared module, or just shared folder. Let's just call it shared module, and then put all this, put the header and the, yeah, put all this into a shared, because it's kind of like a shared module. So I think that is the, you might even decide to put this body here and here, and then leave the root here. So just to make things a lot cleaner. Yeah, this makes things a lot better. This makes things, I just put the root module here. The root module is what I will import in my, I will import my root module in my index, this place. This is where I will replace this with my root module, or I can import my root module in my root in this app, but I might just remove all this and just import it directly in my index.js. I think that's what I will do. So this looks cleaner. I now created a shared module. A shared module, we can call it, we might decide to call it a layout module. The layout, okay, let's call it a layout module. Let's rename this our layout, because if we say shared it doesn't, but if we say layout just show how the whole thing is laid out. So we call this our layout module instead of our shared module. So we know that our layout module is responsible for all the way the thing is laid out. So within, let's I'm thinking of shared module. Let's just leave it as layout module. I don't want to be going back and forth. So we'll come to the body sub. Body sub, what do I have within my body sub? Within my body sub, I have the footer, I have the right section component and the main section component. So let's do the footer. Within my body sub, I have I need to add yeah, and then I need to add this guy, the main section component. And then I equally need to add this right section component. Yeah, and all of them, they have their own children component as well, you know. But let's see if we can tidy up the footer component. The footer we have its sub component, footer sub. The footer has two children component, the copyright component and the nav component. So here I will add the folder and call the folder footer sub. And then I will come over here within the footer sub. I will add my copyright component. You see how easy it is building out all these components, because we've already done the front end design work, the initial work of doing this. Like I said, once you've done this, once you've identified, you've almost built your application, because everything is just a lot easier once you've done this. You know, so that is just the way to go about it. So we create this guy. So this is my, so yeah, so that this is the sub, this subfold, the footer sub contains all the children component for this footer component. Then the main section should have its own subfolder as well. No, let's do the right section, because the right section seems a bit straightforward. So let's add a subfolder for the right section of this. Oh, I'm meant to add a folder, not a. So let's add a folder and call this sub. Then the right section has this is the right section. As you can, this is the right section. The right section has two components. The right section has two components, which is the series component and the admin component. But you know, I have put these guys should be in a different module. You see, these guys should be in a different module. They should be in a series module, not this. They should be in a series. So what will happen is that I will put these guys in their, okay, that means I think the implication is that I will put those two guys in this module and then import this module into my layout module. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this sub. So I will put those in the series module. So what I'm trying to say is that the right section is mainly a layout component. This is just a layout component. And because but this is the main component for the module, the series module. And I've initially argued that okay, that all the whole component for the series should be within the series module. So this is the root component of the series module. So I'll come to the series module and add a new item called series component. And then this series component this series component has two children. That is the series header and the series body. The series body has what? The series item. So let's create a subfolder for the series. That's the way to do it. So we create a series subfolder. This is a series subfolder, and then within this series subfolder, we have the series header. We have the series header component, and then we have what? The series body component. You see how easy this stuff is now. Within 30 minutes, you are almost done creating all your component, and then you just start building your component. So, but the series body has a child. So I might decide, since it is only one child, I might decide to just put everything here. You know, but to follow our procedure, we just add a folder where the child of that series body will be housed. Series body sub. You know, series body sub. So because I have one child component for the series body, I prefer to put it in its own folder. You see, so yeah, series item. So this series item, I will import it into the series body. So that is very, very clean and sweet stuff, you know. So I'm done with this series body now. So I'm going to be notice that I will import this series body into this layout mode, because this series component will be within within this right section. So that's the way you import everything. But I'm done with this series module. Let's go over to admin part. This is the admin. The admin part has the root component of admin component. The root component for this, the root for the admin is this admin component. So I will come to the admin module and add my root component. Yeah. So, but also notice that this admin component has children component as well. The admin header and admin body. They almost just like the series component. So to be able to take care of that, I'm going to add a folder I call admin sub. So within the admin sub, I have my admin header component. You see how fast it is, because you've already done the hard work. Admin header component, and then you have your admin body component. This is your admin body component. Then within the, also notice that this admin body component has a child component called admin item component. So because it has a child component, I prefer to create a subfolder for this admin body. So I'm going to create a subfolder. I'm going to create a subfolder called admin body sub. I'm going to create a folder called admin body sub, and then within this folder, I'm now going to add this my child, the child component for this admin body. You see, so this is all done for the admin section now. So I've finished with the admin. You see how everything is. So I'm done with the admin part of the application. So I'll now need to move over to the main section. So I now need to move to the main section. To move to the main section, what I need to do is to, this is my main section. This is my main section. Now within my main section, I have two components, the main section body, and the main section header. So let's add these two components, main section body and main section header. Main section body and main section header. So within those, okay, and these guys should be within my GDP summary module. So they will be within my GDP summary module. So within my GDP summary module, I add two components. I add the main section body, and then I need to add this component as well, main section header. You see how fast it is. Within one day, you're almost done. Then within this notice that within this main section body, okay, let's tidy up this main section header. Let's tidy up this main section header because it has these 5 children. The main section header has 5 children. So what I will do is I will create a folder, a subfolder called main section header sub. So within this area, I'm going to add a folder called main section sub, and then within that folder, I will now add this my children component. I have 5 of them. I have 5 of them. Component open status component. You know, your React component is just a JS file, a JavaScript file. Now that's the way I like to do it. There's no, we don't complicate. I don't like complications. So yeah, so I add this. And then come over here. I add these as well. Then I add the sort by. And then pagination component is the last one. So I'm done with all the children component for the main section header. I now need to come to the main section body. The main section body has a component, a child component called table component. So the way I need to like create a subfolder for this as well. That's the way I like doing it. I'll create a subfolder for this. And then within that subfolder, I have this table component. I have this table component. Then that table component has, notice that the table component has children as well, the header and the body. You might decide to just put the header, you need to put a, like to follow the procedure to the end. So we have to have the table sub as well, a folder called table sub. Then within that table sub, we have a header component. And then I have my table body component. And then day two, they have their own children component. That is the prediction over time and the table item. So table body should have a sub. So all of them should have their own subfolder. So let's rename this guy and call this table body sub. And call this table header sub. Then within the table header sub, what do I have? That is to say, within the table header top, I just have this prediction over time component. So I'm just going to do that straight away. I have this guy called prediction over time component. Then that is all. Then within the body component, I have this table item. I have this table item component. So let's put that straight to the body component and see what we have. And then the table body item has children component as well, you know. It has children component. So let's get the children. These are the children component, you see. So within this table item component, we have 4 additional components. So because of that, this guy should have its own subfolder. So this guy should have its own subfolder. And then within that subfolder, we have the importance component. And then we also have the prediction component. Oh no, it's not supposed to be. It's just supposed to be. And then we have the aggregate prediction component. And then we have what next? We have this detail component. Then this detail component, notice that this detail component has two children components, the series detail and the editor component. So what I would like to do is to create a subfolder for the detail. Let's call it detail sub. This should be capital letter. And then what else? Let's call the series detail. And then let's go over here and grab this editor component, and then voila, that's me done with all the components. So I've kind of like done most of the work. Now let's close all these guys. So I've pretty much done all the whole work in it. I've brought all the components I've identified here. I've created them in all these components. I've created all of them in my. I've created all of them in my React application. But notice that they are all empty. So what I'd like to do is, once I get to this stage, what I'd like to do is I now move because there is this stuff that Visual Studio Code. I'm doing this on Visual Studio. But what I like to do is I like to go over to open this guy in this, and then what I like to do is to come over here, open this guy with Visual Studio Code. So once this opens in Visual Studio Code, I will show you, there is something I will show you. This is my application in Visual Studio Code. I want to, so these are all my components. So this is my root component. You see it is empty. It is empty. So to create the proper React class component classes, this Visual Studio Code has a functionality that allow me to create all the classes easily. So what I do is I generally work with this and Visual Studio. Once I get to this, Visual Studio allows me to create all these files easily. Visual Studio Code does not allow me to create this file easily. But Visual Studio allows me to create all this. See how easy it is for me to create all these files. But this guy does not allow me to do that. Then there is also this guy as well, does not allow me to create like all this, to add all these things. This guy allows me to do that. So that's the way I like this. So I switch over. So once I identify all my files, I switch over to Visual Studio Code. This is Visual Studio Code. You see, the name is Visual Studio Code. Then when I get to this place, it's easier for me to now just automatically generate all these items that should be inside my class, all these items. So how do I go about that? You install an extension. There's this extension you will install. Once you install the extension, if I want to create all those, I just call RCC React class with methods. You know, if I just create, you know, I will just include the name, So that is just it. I've created this. So what I like to do is I like to remove this property part and then remove all these methods. So this is you see my React class now is shaping up. So this is what I will do for all these classes I've created. This is my React class now with all the information in it. So let's go to layout and see what we can do for layout. We have to get rid of this. So here we do RCC as well. It's an extension. If you install that extension and type RCC, it will be able to do this for you. You just have to change the name to the correct file name. And then I like to do this all throughout, all for all the files I've created. This is the way. If you want to create an application, if you want to put this with, it's a methodology I created. This is a methodology I've created. I know it's a methodology I created. It's kind of like putting assembly line method of building React front end React application, front end React on web application, or React native mobile application. This is like a factory line method of churning out projects. It's a methodology I've created, a proprietary methodology I've created, and I use it to build applications for my clients. So let me start the marketing now. If you watch this video and you feel like your project could benefit from what I'm doing, feel free to contact me. You can always contact me via Selgos Technology. So this my business application. This is our business application, because we are moving this into a higher level. So feel free to contact me via this detail, or you can request for a quotation. You can request for fill this form, and I will get back to you. So let's move over to let's continue with what we are doing. So I've created the header component class now. Then I need to create the body component class. What I'm doing is just filling in all the whole details that I need. Body component class, I got to remove this. This is like a factory line. Yeah, that's the way I like doing it. I've created this. Then what else do I need to do? Once I've done this, let's go to... Okay, let's see if we can finish everything within the layout. Once we finish everything, let's close up. We've done the... Okay, this is under header sub. So we've not done the top, middle. Let's just get everything open so that we can just clear everything all at the same time. So within this top, what I do is that I clean this up. I rename this top component. Well, I need to grab the name. So if I call RCC, I will do this, put the name here, and then remove this guy, and then this. So this for this. Then the middle, I need to rename, get this name. I need to clear this and then call RCC to generate this. And then voila, I get rid of this. Yeah. And then, yeah, so get this squared and pay. Then come to the bottom component. I got to clear this. Yeah, so get rid of this guy. Get rid of these guys. And voila, this is squared and paid. So get rid of, okay, user profile. Where is user profile? Oh, okay, I need to get the name. So user profile, call RCC, name this. Get rid of these guys, and voila, we are done with this component. Then nav bar, I got to get rid of this. Grab the name of this guy, call RCC. Oh, it's giving me I don't like this pattern. I prefer this. Why I prefer this is that in most cases I'll be working with Redux. And to properly work with Redux, it has to be in this. It has to export at the end. This export default component should be at the end. I like to work with Redux and Redux Sega and what have you. To get this, and voila, this is done. Then right section, I got to get rid of these guys. Call RCC. Get this guy off my file, and voila, this done. You see, this Factorland method of creating this application, because I don't like all this factor. I like standardization. The standard made, because this makes the whole thing repeatable. You know, my method is repeatable. You can just give it to anybody, and you know, the person will just follow the method and repeat the whole process. So I'm kind of like sharing my secret sauce. So this done and sorted. So I think I've finished everything about the header sub. Let's go to the body sub. Let's go to the body sub and then open all these guys out. We'll rename these guys. We call RCC this guy, and eliminate this guy, and voila, this the I have done this for a different stuff. This is meant to be for this guy. Well, nothing spoil, as my people will say. It's meant to be for this guy. And then I got to like close it off. And then this supposed to be, let's do for this man. Remove this, call RCC to generate this, then so yeah, this component is square. Like I said, I prefer the component to be in this format, because in most of the cases I'll be working with Redux, and if I'm working with Redux, I like it has to be in this format. So I just start using this format. There are different types of component that you can generate. Yeah, but you can decide to generate the different versions of component based on whether it is just something that displays or what. This guy does everything. So that's why standard method, nothing, no fancy trick. Standard method. This particular way of creating React class component allows you to do pretty much everything. So there's no point trying this style, trying different tricks. No. We want standard methodology. Everything should be standard format. Yeah. Especially if you want it to be repeatable, if you want to take this and give it to a junior developer to do, you should be able to do it without any hassle. So that's the proprietary method I developed for creating applications fast without any hassle. So this is done. Yeah, I need to come to this nav bar. RCC. Yeah, so this is done and squared. I need to rename this guy. The best thing I'd like to do is just to clear this off. There's no, I can easily generate a new one. So what is the point? Haggling myself, you know, to. So that is me done for this layout. That is this layout. This layout is squared and sorted. So let's go to the series and just finish everything we have within the series. So like I said, what I'm doing is I'm generating the content of all these files. That's what I'm doing now, generating the the class, the React class component for all these file. That's what the way I like doing it. Series component. And then series header. The same way, if you are doing this for Angular, it's also very sweet and clean. I don't know. I like Angular, but the problem with Angular is that I don't know, they are still having problem with the problem with Angular is that they are still having problem with all the SEO, the search engine optimization. Yeah, so this for this. Then let's go to the series body. Oh, I've actually done it. So I like, that's the way I like to build my front end React application. Just run through this. If I run through this, then it becomes a lot easier. Then the series item, rename this guy. This is the series item. So all I need to do is just, yeah. So I think that's me. The series module is sorted out. The all I need to do is to come to the, let's do the admin module. Let's do the admin module. Let's just tidy up all these things. It shouldn't be, there's no point holding back. Let's just tidy up all these guys. Let's just tidy up all these guys. Let's tidy up the GDP module. So within this guy, we have let's grab the name. This is the main section header. This is the main. This is the main section body. It will do this guy, yeah. Main section body. I need to. These are all the lifecycle hooks. This method are lifecycle hooks, yeah. But you don't need them there until you need them. That's the way I just want my stuff to be clean like this, clean and square, clean and no. I don't like too much stuff. Just let everything be clean. So I'm going to remove this and call this guy. Okay, this guy, remove this guy, remove this guy. Voila. Closed status. Let's get this. Yeah, so this is squared and sorted out. Then let's go to these main body section. Yeah. Table. Let's grab this table component. RCC. Table item. Where is my table item? Where is the table item? Then prediction over time. Where is prediction over time? This video is going to be over 1 hour. But it's worth it. If one is able to get this knowledge, I think it's worth it. Because you hardly cannot get anybody that will show you how to do this. That's just it. Except you happen to work within a team that is doing it this way. I say this factory line method. You don't factory line method. Yeah. So once I'm done with this, I will now show you briefly, because the video has gone over 1 hour. I will just show you briefly how to compose, how to bring everything together. But if you follow through the mind map, you should be able to do that. this done. I think we've not done the admin submodule. Let's quickly run through these and then I will then briefly show you how to do the composition, how to bring everything together. It's simple. It's simple. I'll just show you how to bring these guys together, and you just import all the components. If you've done Angular, if you've done React before, it's just a matter of importing all these components where they belong. Sweat. Header. Yeah, so I'm done with all this. So how do you now compose it? Okay, let me show you how to compose. For the root component, we'll just bring this. I'll just show you how to compose it. My root component has the header and the body. My root component is composed of the header and the body. So how do I do this? To do that, all I need to do is to come over here. And then I need to bring the header. Where is the header? This is my root component. The header is within the layout component. This is the header. And this is what the body. So I need to get these guys within, I need to get this header and body within this root module. Because this is where I need to compose them. So this is I think what I need to do is I need to import, if I'm not mistaken, within the root module, I need to import, let me look at these and see. Okay, I need to import I need to call imports and import my header component. I need to import my header component from my header component from, how I wish I have something that we just, how I wish I have something that will just allow me to drag this into with TypeScript. TypeScript generally do allow me to do that. You know, TypeScript should be able to allow me to just drag this thing and import. But I'm importing this from, I need to import it from the root layout. I think, let me see. It's not even allowing me to see. It's going to be from this layouts. Let's see if we can rename this guy. It can't even rename. Let's just go here. That's one problem I have with that's one problem I have doing all this JavaScript stuff. So I'm going to call this from layout. This is the way to get this then, and I think that is it. I need to call, yeah, it seems I need to call that header. I think something of this nature. Import this from, am I missing something? This guy is supposed to be from think, it's correct. I think it's correct. Yeah, it's telling me that the header is telling me, but I've not used it. So I need to also bring the body, because look at it from here. The root contains header and body, so I need to bring the two within this particular folder, within this place. So I will just grab this, like copying and pasting. If you want to work very fast, do you want to try to prove to the world that you know how to type? This should be the body. Import the body. Then this is the way, you see, this is the way to compose it. Then if you come to this area, then you now compose your, it depends on how in doing this composition, you have to also consider how you would want to, this is the way to compose it. This is the header and this is the body. This is the way to generally do the composition, but I'm not here to teach you React. I'm just showing you how to get to this point. This is the way to compose. This is the way to compose. This is my root component, and my root component has the header and the body. So the same way, if the header, if I go to this header, the header contains the top component, the middle component, and the bottom component. So you can go to the header. In this case, where is the header? The header should be in the layouts. Okay, the header should be here, and the header should get, within the header I should grab the top component, the middle component, and the bottom component. So within the header, all I need to just do is, let's say, grab this. Just grab this. I'm just showing you how to compose your distance. So this should be my header. Okay, header sub. Okay, header sub. Header sub. From here, we'll go to header sub folder. And then from header sub folder, I grab the top, middle, and bottom component. I'm not even sure it's allowing me to see. Okay, it's allowing me to see them. Top component. Middle component and bottom component. So you can name this your top component, this your middle component, and this your bottom component. So here I also need to import them. If you look at the diagram, if you look at this is the top, this is the top. If you look at it, they are just stacked on top of each other, top, middle, and bottom component. So it's simple. All I need to do is just stack them up like this. And I just need to grab this guy. I don't like typing. So this will be my top component, this will be my middle component, and this will be my bottom. Oh, you see, this is the way to compose this thing. And then this arrangement should also take note of the fact that you might want to style. Take note of the styling. See, this should take note of the styling as well. This is the way to compose it. This is the header composed of the top component, the middle component, and the bottom component. In my mind map, this is the header. The header is made up of the top component, the middle component, and the bottom component. This is just the way to do these things, and also that's the way you would now do. That's the way you compose till you get to the end to complete everything. But note, as I said, note that you have to take arrange this thing based on how you want to style, the styling you want to apply. You see, like if I want these guys to, I might put for this top component, you might decide to just wrap these around around a div, if that is what so that you'll be able to style. It depends. You might decide to wrap them around a div. It depends on what you want to achieve, or it depends on what you want to achieve. So like if I'm doing this for real, I might make that decision, but this is the way you compose your application. So like I said, to summarize, this is the end of the tutorial. From this, you cannot, I will try and see if I can push this to Git repository so that you take a look of it, you know. So to summarize this series, I don't think I might be able to do for Angular, but it's the same thing for Angular. To summarize this series, we have been given a UI interface design, and we have been asked to develop a React application based on this US interface design. I have personally been working on front-end application for over 4 years now, and based on my experience, I've kind of like I've developed a proprietary method of developing front-end application. So what I did in this video is to share part of the method with you. So given a complex interface design, how do you go about generating all the components and then creating all those components in your React application? To start off with, we have the design. What I did was to identify all the component candidates, and there are so many things that goes into determining which slice of the UI should be a component. So having identified all the components, I went straight to numbering all the components, because if you number the component, it becomes really easy for the next step. So after numbering the component, after identifying and numbering the component within this concept draw application, I then move over to the mind map. The mind map allows me to do two things: to name my component, assign their corresponding numbers, and then to arrange those components almost exactly the way they will be arranged within your React application. So this is what this mind map does, to identify the names of the component and to allow you to assign the number within the number in this drawing, all these numbers, to all the components. It makes it easy to kind of like reference. If you want to reference this particular drawing, it becomes a lot easier from this mind map. And also the mind map shows you the composition structure. Like the header is composed of the top component, the middle component, and the bottom component, and the top component is composed of the user profile and the navbar component. So in addition to showing you the name and linking the name with the number in the drawing, it shows you the composition structure. So once we have this composition structure here, we now move over to creating our React app. So I moved over to creating our React app. I created all the React app. I made some decision on the layout and how to structure the folder for the React application. And after making that decision, this is the structure I came up with. So the root component, the series module, the layout module, the GDP summary module, and my admin module. And then I went straight to creating all the files and their subfolders, and just to show you the structure of how to do this. So after creating the files and the structure and the subfolder, I then move over to creating the content of each of the files. This is what I did with my Visual Studio. So I created all the whole content of the file, and then I move over to composing my component. Like for example, this root component here is made up of header component and the body component. So in my application as well, I need to compose them, bring them together. As you can see, this root component, it is made up of what? Header component and body component. I'm not teaching React. I'm just showing you how to move from a complex interface design to the structure of your React application. So I'm presuming that you have a basic understanding of React application. So this brings me to the end of this training. I've shown you how to move from your interface design to your React application. So this is basically the way I do I go about my business. Like I've been saying severally, I've developed a methodology for doing this. I've just shared part of the methodology. So this is the company I work with. This is the startup, and what we try to do within Celgos Technology is that we build applications for clients. So we offer several services, but the core services we offer for clients include application development, platform engineering, and data analytics and machine learning. And within application engineering, the training I did is purely within application development. Within application development, we do so many things. We do like user interface design, front end application development, back end application development. So this training is purely for front end. I show the methodology that I've developed that I use to design applications for clients. I've used it to design complex applications. So if you like the training, or if you enjoy the video and you feel that you have a project that you feel can benefit from this explanation, you can always get in touch with me. If you send me a message via this page, I will reply to your message. Or you can if you have all the documentation for your project ready, you can submit those documentation and I will give you a quotation for your project. So that is basically it. And if you watch the video and you enjoy the video, I posted this video in YouTube. You can always like the, if you like the page, it increases the viewership and the encouragement it gives to the producer of the video. And also subscribe to my video so that you will receive updates once I post new video on YouTube. So I think that is all for today. Yeah, that is all for today. So this brings me to the end of this series. I wouldn't go to do the Angular part, but you can follow this method to do the Angular part. So I think that is all. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.